Everyone wants freedom. But let me tell you a truth most people never face. Freedom is not found in working harder. It's found in working wiser. You can run on the treadmill of effort for years, sweating, struggling, surviving, but until you learn how to multiply value, you'll always be trading time for a paycheck. The question isn't, are you working hard? The real question is your hard work building you or just exhausting you? Because wealth doesn't come to the one who works the most. It comes to the one who learns the most, grows the fastest, and acts with the most clarity. Work smart. Build your skills. Build your wealth. That's how you stop chasing opportunities and start becoming one. You know, most people have been taught since childhood that if you just work hard enough, everything will fall into place. They say, put in the hours, grind, hustle, keep your head down, and one day you'll be rewarded. But let me tell you something that changed my life. Hard work alone is not the secret. You can dig ditches 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and still stay broke. You can run fast on the wrong road and never reach the destination. Effort is essential, yes, but without direction, it's like rowing a boat with great energy, but no compass. You see, life doesn't pay you for time, it pays you for the value you bring to that time. That was a revelation for me. I used to think, if I just keep busy, I'm making progress. But then one day my mentor sat me down and said, don't mistake movement for achievement. That hit me like a ton of bricks. He said, you can look like you're doing a lot, but if it doesn't move the needle, it's just activity, not productivity. I started observing successful people and realized something profound. They didn't seem to rush. They weren't always busy. But when they acted, every move counted. They didn't measure their day by how many things they did. They measured it by what got accomplished. That's when I learned the difference between working hard and working smart with purpose. Working hard is about energy. Working smart is about direction. And when you combine the two, you become unstoppable. The truth is, success is not about adding more hours to the day. It's about adding more value to each hour you already have. So I began to ask myself a new kind of question every morning. Is what I'm doing today moving me closer to my goals? Not am I busy, but am I progressing? That single habit changed everything for me. I started to eliminate what didn't serve me. I stopped saying yes to every request, every distraction, every task that didn't align with where I wanted to go. I stopped being a slave to the clock and started becoming a master of results. I realized that people don't pay for sweat, they pay for skill, insight, and outcome. A worker can spend 10 hours digging a hole, but a man with a plan and a machine can do the same in 1 hour. The difference isn't effort, it's intelligence applied to effort. Every week, I started tracking my progress, not by how exhausted I felt, but by the results I produced. I measured growth, not grind. And what I found was that focus multiplies effectiveness. The clearer your goal, the sharper your actions become. When your purpose is strong, distractions lose their power. Working smart means aligning every effort with a vision, because without vision, effort is wasted energy. So don't just work hard, work smart with intention, direction, and purpose. The world doesn't reward sweat, it rewards strategy. You know, when I was a young man, I used to dream about having more money, more success, more opportunity. I thought if I could just find the right job or the right break, life would finally turn around. But one day my mentor said something that turned my whole world upside down. He said, to have more, you must first become more. At first, I didn't quite understand it. I thought, what does that mean? I'm already working hard. I'm showing up early, staying late, doing everything I can. But then he explained, your income is a direct reflection of your personal development. If you want to earn more, you have to learn more. If you want to attract success, you have to become the kind of person success is looking for. That hit me hard. I realized I had been chasing money instead of becoming the kind of man who could handle money wisely. You see, wealth doesn't respond to need, it responds to value. The marketplace doesn't pay you for your time, it pays you for the value you bring to that time. You can't demand more income without increasing your usefulness, your insight, your ability to solve problems. If you're being paid minimum wage, it's not because your boss doesn't like you. It's because that's the value the marketplace has placed on what you currently bring to the table. But here's the beauty. You can change that. You can increase your value at any time by working harder on yourself than you do on your job. I remember deciding one day that I was going to become more valuable. I asked myself, what skills would make me impossible to ignore? I started with 3: communication, leadership, and understanding. Money, communication. Because every opportunity in life flows through people. Leadership. Because people follow vision and confidence. And financial literacy. Because I didn't just want to make money, I wanted to learn how to make it grow. So I made a simple commitment. 30 minutes every day, no matter what, I would read, listen, or practice something that would make me a little more capable than I was yesterday. At first, it didn't seem to make a difference. But over time, those minutes compounded like interest in a savings account. My thinking expanded, my confidence grew, and my results followed. Then came the next step, mentorship. I sought out people who had already achieved what I wanted. I didn't need to reinvent the wheel. I just needed to study the people who were already rolling successfully. And you know what I discovered? Successful people love to share what they've learned, but only with those who are serious about applying it. So I became a student. I listened more than I talked. I took notes. I practiced what I learned. Slowly but surely, I stopped waiting for wealth to find me and started becoming the kind of person wealth was attracted to. The truth is simple but powerful. Your income will rarely exceed your level of personal growth. The more valuable you become, the more opportunities, connections, and rewards begin to show up. So don't chase money, chase mastery. Don't wish for easier opportunities. Become a stronger person. Because when you grow, everything around you grows, and that's the kind of wealth that lasts. I've met people who dream of wealth, who say, if only I had $1 million, everything would be different. But here's the truth I learned early in life. If someone gives you $1 million, best, you become a millionaire quickly, not in your bank account, but in your mind. Because if you don't develop the mindset of a millionaire, that money will vanish faster than it came. You see, money doesn't solve problems, it amplifies who you already are. If you're careless with $100, you'll be reckless with 100,000. Wealth must be sustained by the person you become, not by the number in your account. When I started out, I used to think the secret to wealth was finding the right opportunity, the right deal, or the right timing. But over the years, I discovered something far more important, the right mindset. You can give 2 people the same tools, the same resources, even the same amount of money, and within a few years, one will have multiplied it while the other will have lost it all. The difference isn't luck, it's thinking. Wealth is built from the inside out. Before you can hold it in your hands, you have to hold it in your mind. Developing a wealth mindset means shifting how you think about money, value, and time. It means understanding that money is a servant, not a master. It's a tool to build freedom, not an object to chase blindly. The wealthy think in decades, not days. They understand that delayed gratification is the foundation of lasting prosperity. They invest when others spend, they plan when others hope, and they align every dollar with a purpose. That's mental discipline. The ability to think long term while everyone else is living for the weekend. I remember sitting down one evening, broke and frustrated, realizing I had more month left than money. I started journaling about what I truly believed about wealth. What came out surprised me. Deep down, I had inherited limiting beliefs. Things like money is hard to make, rich people are greedy, or I'll never be good with finances. No wonder I was stuck. My thoughts were sabotaging me before my efforts even began. So, I made a decision to rewrite those beliefs. Each time I caught myself saying I can't afford it, I replaced it with, how can I afford it? That small change opened my mind from limitation to creativity. Suddenly, instead of focusing on what I lacked, I started thinking about opportunities, skills, and solutions. Every morning, I'd visualize my financial goals as if they were already real. Not just the numbers, but the feeling of freedom, security, and contribution they would bring. I could see myself walking into my dream home, paying my bills with ease, helping others without worry. The clearer that vision became, the more my actions aligned with it. My spending habits changed, my conversations changed, my attitude changed, and over time, my reality followed suit. Wealth doesn't start in your wallet, it starts in your mind. The size of your income will always rise or fall to match the size of your thinking. So, before you chase the $1 million, become the kind of person who can keep it, grow it, and use it wisely. When your mindset matures, your money will follow, and this time, it won't slip away. I remember the day I realized that one paycheck could never buy true freedom. You see, most people live their whole lives depending on a single stream of income, their job. They build their entire security on one source, one employer, one promise. But the truth is, if one source controls your income, they also control your lifestyle, your choices, and in many ways, your future. Freedom doesn't come from having a job. It comes from creating options. That's why I say, never rely on a single source of income. Create multiple streams. Because when one dries up, another keeps flowing. Formal education, as I've always said, will make you a living. But self-education, that's what makes you a fortune. You can learn how to earn, how to build, and how to multiply. The world has changed. Opportunity is everywhere if you have the eyes to see it. But most people don't see it because they're too busy surviving on one stream. They clock in, clock out, and hope for a raise that barely covers inflation. What they don't realize is that while they're working for money, their money could be working for them. When I started in business, I didn't have a fortune, but I had ambition and a hunger to learn. I began by building one active source of income, something I could control with my time and skills. For me, it was sales. I learned how to communicate, how to lead, and how to serve people. That became my foundation. But I didn't stop there. Every extra dollar I earned, I didn't spend it on comfort. I reinvested it in books, in seminars, in mentors, and eventually in ventures that would pay me even while I slept. That's the difference between active and passive income. Active income pays you when you show up. Passive income pays you long after you've stopped showing up. So, start where you are. Build a side business around a skill you already have or are willing to develop. Maybe it's writing, design, consulting, or teaching. Anything that creates value for others. Then, as that business grows, use your earnings not to inflate your lifestyle, but to create more streams. Learn about investing, not gambling, but investing. Understand compound interest. Let your money earn its own paycheck. Even small investments, made consistently, will multiply over time. The earlier you start, the greater the magic of compounding works in your favor. And don't be afraid to reinvest your profits, not just in businesses, but in yourself. Every dollar you spend on improving your mindset, your knowledge, or your skill set has the highest return on investment you'll ever find, because you are the source from which all streams flow. When you grow, everything around you grows. So, diversify your efforts, not your distractions. Create income from what you know, what you love, and what you can multiply. Because wealth is not built on chance, it's built on channels. When one stream dries up, the wealthy don't panic, they simply turn to another. That's how freedom is secured. Not through one paycheck, but through many rivers of opportunity flowing from the same source, you. I learned long ago that success isn't a mystery, it's a discipline. You can almost predict who will succeed by observing what they do every day when nobody's watching. Most people wait for motivation to show up, as if motivation were some lightning bolt that strikes the lucky few. But motivation is fleeting. Discipline, on the other hand, is dependable. Discipline shows up even when you don't feel like it. It's the quiet, consistent force that turns dreams into reality. And as I've said before, we must all suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is that discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. When I was younger, I used to make big promises to myself, grand goals and lofty dreams. But weeks would pass, and nothing changed. I realized that the problem wasn't my ambition, it was my lack of discipline. I wanted the rewards of success without the structure that success demands. That was the turning point for me. I began to treat discipline not as a punishment, but as the bridge between my goals and my accomplishments. Without that bridge, every dream collapses under its own weight. Success doesn't come in a single moment of inspiration. It comes from the repetition of small, consistent actions. It's like planting a seed. You don't see growth overnight, but if you water it daily, the results become inevitable. I started with simple disciplines. Waking up early, journaling my goals, reading something valuable for 15 minutes, exercising, and reviewing my progress at night. It didn't take long to see the shift, not just in results, but in identity. I was no longer someone trying to change. I was someone living by design. Discipline is built through structure. Create a morning routine that sets the tone for your day. Start small if you must, but start. Maybe it's reading one page of a book that feeds your mind, writing down your top 3 priorities, or simply taking 5 quiet minutes to think about who you're becoming. These simple acts compound over time. And remember, the goal is not perfection, it's consistency. Miss a day, don't miss twice. Keep your word to yourself, even in small things. When you say you'll do something and actually follow through, you build inner trust. That trust becomes the foundation of confidence and character. Reward yourself for showing up, not for being perfect. Perfection is a trap. Consistency is the secret. Every disciplined action strengthens the muscle of self-control, and that muscle will carry you further than talent or luck ever will. Eventually, discipline becomes a habit, and habit becomes freedom. Because once you're disciplined, you no longer rely on feelings, you rely on standards. Discipline may feel uncomfortable in the moment, but regret lasts a lifetime. Choose the lighter pain. Choose the daily habits that build the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. The moment you do, success stops being a someday dream and starts becoming a predictable outcome. One of the most important lessons I ever learned about money is this. It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep and what you do with what you keep. You can earn a fortune and still end up broke if you don't learn to manage it. I've seen it happen. People win the lottery, get a huge raise, inherit wealth, and within a few years, they're right back where they started. Why? Because they never learned the discipline of saving and investing. Remember, money is a tool, not a toy. It's meant to work for you, not to entertain you. When I was young and struggling, I thought that the solution to my problems was to make more money. But I discovered that no amount of income can fix poor money habits. The fool spends everything he earns. The wise invest a portion of everything he touches. That simple truth separates those who stay broke from those who build wealth. The wealthy don't just earn, they convert earnings into assets that work for them while they sleep. That's how financial freedom is built, not overnight, but through consistent, intelligent money management. I began practicing what I call the 70/30 rule. Live on 70% of what you earn and use the rest to build your future. Of that remaining 30%, give 10% away to causes or people that matter. Generosity opens the flow of abundance. Invest 10% into long-term growth, stocks, index funds, real estate, or a business you understand, and keep 10% as savings or emergency reserves. At first, I thought this was impossible. I was barely making enough to get by. But then I realized something powerful. It wasn't about the amount, it was about the habit. Even saving a few dollars consistently changed my mindset from consumer to investor. The wealthy don't see money as something to spend, they see it as something to multiply. Every dollar they earn has a job to produce more dollars. That's what investing does. Whether it's a simple index fund, a piece of rental property, or shares in a growing business, each investment becomes a silent employee working around the clock. Your goal should be to build a team of dollars so strong that one day your money earns more than your labor. And here's something most people overlook. Learn the language of money. You don't have to be a financial genius, but you do have to be financially literate. Understand basic principles, interest, compounding, risk, and return. The time you invest in understanding how money works will save you from decades of mistakes. I used to spend money to impress people. Now I use it to express wisdom. The first habit keeps you poor. The second makes you free. Every time you earn, you have a choice. Consume or create. Spend it and it's gone. Invest it and it grows. Save diligently. Invest wisely. And soon you'll reach a point where your money works harder than you do. And that, my friends, is when freedom begins. There comes a point in every person's life when you realize that wealth isn't just about numbers, it's about meaning. You start to see that true success is not what you get, but what you become. And once you've built something of value, the next question naturally follows, will it last? Most people work for a lifestyle. The wise work for a legacy. Because luxury fades, cars rust, houses age, trends change, but legacy endures. The real measure of your wealth is not how much you can spend in this lifetime, but how many lives are better because you lived. I remember the first time I started thinking about legacy. I was making more money than I ever imagined when I was broke, yet something still felt incomplete. I had achieved comfort, but comfort isn't fulfillment. I ask myself, what happens to all this when I'm gone? What story will my life tell? That question changed everything. It made me realize that wealth without purpose is just accumulation. But when you build wealth with values, it becomes contribution. It outlives you. Legacy starts not with money, but with mindset. You can't pass down dollars without passing down discipline, wisdom, and habits. Otherwise, the next generation will lose what you've built. I've seen families inherit fortunes only to squander them within a few years because the money arrived before the mindset did. So, the first step to building a lasting legacy is to teach, to pass on not just your wealth, but your ways. Sit with your children, your family, your mentees, and talk about principles: saving, investing, giving, and growing. Share the stories of your struggles and lessons learned. Don't let your financial wisdom die with you. Next, document your systems, your habits, strategies, and philosophies that brought you success. Write them down, record them, make them teachable. That's how you turn experience into inheritance. The wealthy understand that knowledge is the most powerful asset of all. It compounds faster than money and benefits more than one generation. Imagine the power of leaving not just a bank account, but a blueprint. And finally, give, because wealth that ends with you was never truly wealth. It was just accumulation. Give through charity, mentorship, or impact projects that align with your values. Generosity keeps the heart humble and the spirit alive. Every time you give, you remind yourself that you are not the owner. You are the steward. Wealth flows best through open hands. So, build your fortune, but also build the foundation for others to stand on. Teach your children to fish instead of handing them the fish. Create systems that continue to serve even when you're gone. And when your time comes, let it be said that you didn't just live well, you left well. Because in the end, the greatest sign of success is not the wealth you kept, but the wisdom and opportunity you passed on. That's the kind of wealth that outlives you, and that's the one worth building. I learned early in life that success isn't a mystery, it's a matter of discipline. It's predictable. You can almost chart it like a map. Every dream, every goal, every great achievement stands on one bridge: discipline. And here's the truth. We all must suffer one of two pains. Either the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The pain of discipline weighs ounces, but the pain of regret weighs tons. I've carried both, and I can tell you firsthand, discipline is the lighter load. When I was young, I used to confuse motivation with discipline. Motivation feels good. It's that burst of energy after a seminar, that spark after hearing something inspiring. But motivation fades. Discipline stays. Discipline doesn't need a crowd cheering or the perfect mood. It's what you do when no one's watching. It's showing up even when the feeling is gone. That's where success begins, in those quiet moments of consistency when most people quit. I remember a season in my life when I decided to completely change my habits. I was tired of being broke, tired of being average, tired of waiting for something to change while I wasn't changing myself. So, I created a structured morning routine. I made a commitment to wake up early, read something positive, review my goals, and plan my day with intention. It wasn't glamorous. In fact, some mornings I wanted to roll back over and forget the world. But I knew that every time I chose discipline, I was casting a vote for the person I wanted to become. And over time, those votes added up. Discipline is built one promise at a time. Every time you do what you said you'd do, no matter how small, you build trust with yourself. And that trust compounds. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop lying to your own potential. When you say, "I'll do it," you do it. That's how confidence is born. Not from talent, but from integrity with yourself. You can't buy that. You earn it through consistency. And here's something most people miss. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about progress. You don't have to get it all right every day. You just have to keep showing up. Reward yourself for consistency. Celebrate effort, not just outcomes, because discipline is a muscle. It grows with repetition. Every day you show up, you get stronger. The truth is, without discipline, dreams remain fantasies. But with it, Fantasies become goals, and goals become reality. Discipline is what turns time into progress and effort into success. So, decide which pain you'll carry, the pain of staying consistent or the pain of looking back with regret. I promise, one hurts now, the other hurts forever. Make discipline your best friend. Build routines that shape your focus, habits that shape your future, and consistency that shapes your character. And when life gets hard, and it will, remind yourself, this is the price of success, and it's worth every ounce. Because discipline doesn't just build results, it builds you. When it comes to money, most people get it backward. They think the goal is to make more, but it's not. The goal is to keep more, and then make what you keep work harder than you do. You see, earning money is one skill, but managing it, that's wisdom. It's not how much comes in that determines your wealth. It's how much stays and grows after it arrives. Because money, my friends, is a tool, not a toy. And those who treat it like a toy end up broke, while those who treat it like a tool build empires. I used to spend every dollar I made, thinking I was doing fine as long as I could pay the bills. Then one day, my mentor said, "Don't spend all you earn. The fool spends, and the wise invest." That hit me like a lightning bolt. From that day, I began to look at money differently, not as something to spend, but as something to plant. The same way a farmer treats seeds, he doesn't eat them all, no matter how hungry he gets. He saves the best ones and plants them, knowing that patience today brings a harvest tomorrow. That's where the 70/30 rule comes in, one of the simplest yet most powerful financial philosophies I ever adopted. Live on 70% of what you earn. No matter how big or small your income, discipline yourself to keep that ratio. The next 10% goes to charity or contribution. Give back, because generosity opens channels of abundance. Another 10% goes to savings, and the final 10% goes to investments. It doesn't have to be perfect at first. Maybe you start with 90/10 and work your way up. The point is to build a habit. Once you make it automatic, you'll be amazed how fast your money starts working for you. And that's the next key, investing. Don't let your money sit idle. Money that sleeps gets lazy. Money that works compounds. Start small, but start. Put a portion of your earnings into things that grow, index funds, real estate, or business equity. The wealthy don't gamble with money. They position it. They let time and discipline do the heavy lifting. That's what compound interest is. Your silent partner in wealth creation. It's not about quick profits. It's about steady progress. But to do that, you need education. Financial literacy is not optional, it's essential. Learn the language of money, assets, liabilities, cash flow, return on investment. Read about it. Listen to people who've done it. Don't just work for money. Learn how to make money work for you. Because if you don't, you'll always trade hours for dollars, and one day you'll run out of hours. When I began applying these principles, everything changed. My money stopped disappearing. My savings started to grow. My investments began to produce returns that bought me time, the most valuable asset of all. That's real wealth. When your money earns money even while you sleep. So stop treating money like something to play with. Respect it, direct it, and let it serve you. Every dollar has a job. Give it one. And remember, it's not about how much you make. It's about how well you manage what you make. The fool spends, the wise invest. Choose to be wise. Your future self will thank you. There comes a point in your journey when you realize that money itself isn't the ultimate prize. It's what money allows you to become and what you can build that truly matters. Success was never meant to end with you. It's meant to flow through you. That's what legacy is. The transfer of wisdom, not just wealth. See, a fancy house or a luxury car may turn heads, but a legacy turns lives. And that's the difference between those who live for the moment and those who build for generations. I learned this truth the hard way. When I first started making money, I thought success was about accumulation, more income, more possessions, more recognition. But over time, I discovered that the greatest satisfaction didn't come from what I owned, but from who I helped, what I taught, and what I left behind. The real reward of wealth isn't comfort, it's contribution. It's knowing that your efforts outlast your lifetime, that the seeds you plant today will grow into trees that shade people you'll never meet. Legacy begins the moment you start thinking beyond yourself. The wealthy think in terms of systems, not moments. They don't just build income, they build institutions, habits, and philosophies that continue to produce long after they're gone. That's how families stay strong for generations. They don't just inherit money, they inherit wisdom. Money without values disappears. But when values and principles accompany wealth, it multiplies. So start teaching what you've learned. Don't wait until you have millions in the bank to pass down lessons. Teach your children, your friends, your mentees about discipline, saving, investing, and gratitude. Show them by example that success is earned through character and consistency, not luck or shortcuts. Tell them about your mistakes, too. Your failures are often more valuable than your victories. Let them learn not just what to do, but what not to do. Then, document your systems and strategies. Write them down, record them, organize them. What gets written gets remembered. Build a structure that others can follow. How you manage money, how you invest, how you give. That's how you turn wisdom into a living guidebook for others to follow. And finally, give. Not just money, but time, energy, and mentorship. Create something that'll keep making a difference long after you're gone. A scholarship, a foundation, a business that empowers others. Wealth is not measured by how much you keep, but by how much you release for good. When you give, you multiply. The hands that open to give never stay empty. When I look back at my own life, the numbers in the bank are not what I cherish most. It's the people whose lives changed because of a word, a lesson, or an opportunity I was able to provide. That's the harvest of a life well lived, not just having more, but becoming more, so that others can do the same. So don't just chase wealth. Build something that breathes beyond you. Create a ripple that becomes a wave, a legacy of wisdom, generosity, and discipline. Because in the end, success isn't what you get, it's what you leave behind. Everything in life follows the law of the seed. You reap what you sow. It's not just a principle of agriculture. It's a principle of success, of wealth, and of life itself. If you don't sow, you don't reap. And if you sow little, you reap little. Many people want the harvest without the planting, the reward without the effort, the result without the process. But life doesn't work that way. Wealth doesn't grow by accident. It grows by intention, by consistent planting of good seeds over time. Every dollar you earn is a seed. Every act of service, every skill you develop, every idea you bring to life, all seeds. The question is, what are you planting and where? If you waste your seeds on impulse and short-term pleasures, don't be surprised when the field is empty. But if you invest your seeds wisely, in knowledge, in opportunities, in relationships that matter, the harvest will always come, though it might take time. That's where faith and patience meet discipline. You don't plant today and harvest tomorrow. You water the soil, you nurture the ground, you wait through the seasons. Wealth works the same way. Start small, but start now. Invest monthly, even if it's a small amount. Consistency beats timing every time. The wealthy understand this. Small, steady investments compound into large returns. Start a side business, a project, or an idea that excites you. Don't expect overnight results. Nurture it for years, not months. Reinvest your profits back into your growth. Let your money multiply like seeds in fertile ground. Over time, what once seemed small becomes abundant. Remember, every act of discipline, every wise choice, every dollar invested is a seed. And if you keep sowing wisely, your harvest will be inevitable. It's not what you make that counts, it's what you keep. I've met people earning thousands every month, yet ending each year broken, frustrated. Why? Because their financial bucket was full of leaks. They were working hard to fill it, but money kept slipping through small, unnoticed holes, unnecessary expenses, emotional spending, debt, poor planning. Wealth isn't built by income alone. It's built by discipline and protection. You can't grow what you can't keep. Imagine your money as water. You can pour in as much as you like, but if the bucket is cracked, you'll never fill it. The key is not just to earn more, but to guard what you earn. That starts with awareness, knowing where every dollar goes. Review your finances regularly. Check your subscriptions, interest rates, and recurring costs. Most people lose hundreds simply because they never look closely. Every leak you seal strengthens your financial foundation. Then, guard against lifestyle inflation. When income grows, the temptation to spend more grows with it. Don't fall into that trap. The goal is not to look rich, but to become free. True wealth is quiet. It's the peace of knowing your money is working for you, not slipping away from you. Avoid debt that doesn't create assets. Borrowing to consume is a trap. Borrowing to build can be a strategy. Know the difference. And protect what you've built. Ensure your income sources and assets wisely. It's not fear, it's foresight. The wealthy don't just build, they protect. They understand that money unguarded is opportunity lost. So treat every dollar with respect. Manage it, protect it, and let it grow under your watchful eye. Because wealth isn't just earned, it's kept, guarded, and multiplied with intention. You can't get rich by yourself. You need leverage. Leverage is what separates the busy from the wealthy. It's the art of multiplying your results without multiplying your effort. Many people work hard, but they rely only on their own two hands. There's only so much one person can do, no matter how disciplined or determined. Wealth begins to expand when you learn to extend your reach through time, tools, systems, and people. When I started out, I tried to do everything myself, from making sales to managing the books. But there came a day when I realized I wasn't building a business. I was trapped in a job I had created for myself. That's when I learned the power of leverage. I began delegating small tasks, investing in systems that worked while I slept, and partnering with people who were better than me in areas where I was weak. My income didn't just grow, it multiplied. Leverage begins with time. Use yours wisely by focusing on high-value activities. Delegate the repetitive and automate the routine. Technology today gives us tools that work 24 hours a day. Let them. Use automation for communication, AI for productivity, and systems to scale your efforts. Then comes financial leverage. Using money intelligently to create more money. Invest in assets that generate returns instead of parking cash in consumption. And perhaps the greatest leverage of all is people. Surround yourself with those who complement your skills, not copy them. Build partnerships that create synergy, where 1 + 1 = 3. Leverage turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. It's not about working harder, it's about working multiplied. When you master leverage, you stop trading time for money and start building freedom that grows even when you're not watching. That's the real power of wealth. As we come to the end of this journey, I want you to pause and reflect on everything we've shared. The principles of wealth and freedom are not secrets hidden in the mountains. They are simple truths, often ignored, waiting to be lived. Wealth is not built overnight. It's built in the quiet consistency of daily choices. It's built when you decide to work smart instead of just hard, when you choose learning over entertainment, and when you trade fleeting pleasure for lasting progress. The life you desire, the freedom, the abundance, the peace, it doesn't begin with luck or connections, it begins with you. It begins with the decision to take ownership of your time, your habits, and your thoughts. The moment you do, everything starts to shift. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become the architect of your destiny. You stop chasing quick fixes and start building foundations that last. I've seen too many people live years without direction, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right motivation. But here's the truth. There is no perfect time. The only right time is now. Every great achievement began with a single decision made in the present moment. So decide today that you'll take one step, however small, toward your financial freedom. Track your spending. Read a page from a book on wealth. Start that side project. Teach your child one principle about money. Don't wait for motivation. Create momentum. Action fuels clarity. Small steps done daily become massive results over time. Let your habits work in your favor, and let your discipline guide your success. The path to wealth is not just about money. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle it. So start today. Build yourself. Build your skills. Build your future.